Breaking just 7 minutes ago. In a small community in Nova Scotia, 2 children vanish without a trace. Lilly, just 6 years old. Jack, only 4. Last seen in Lansdowne Station, a place where doors are left unlocked, and neighbors still greet each other by name. But on that day, the stillness broke. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched a full-scale search. Door-to-door checks, K-9 units, a public plea for any video footage, no matter how small the detail. Hundreds of tips poured in. And yet, no one could say where Lilly and Jack had gone. And while that search gripped Canada, another headline erupted across the border in the United States. 3 young girls, the Decker sisters, found lifeless near a remote campsite. Their own father now at the center of a manhunt. 2 different tragedies, 2 different countries. But online, the stories began to blur. Headlines merged. Social media posts stitched together details that didn't belong in the same sentence. And in the chaos, rumors spread faster than the truth. Last night, one phrase began to dominate feeds. Bodies found. But was this the breakthrough everyone feared? Or was someone trying to bury one? Story beneath another. What do the police really know? And what aren't they telling us? Before we go deeper, I want to ask you for one thing. If you value careful, fact-driven true crime, not clickbait, help us reach 1,000 subscribers. That simple click means we can keep investigating stories like this, without watering them down. Now, let's follow. Neighbors recall seeing them playing outside in the early evenings, chasing each other through the grass. Their home was modest, surrounded by open fields and the familiar sound of passing trains. On May 2nd, the children were last seen in the early afternoon. By that evening, when they could not be found, their disappearance was reported to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Officers arrived quickly, interviewing family members, neighbors, and anyone who might have seen them that day. The first 24 hours saw a community mobilize. Door-to-door searches were conducted. K-9 teams combed the area. RCMP issued their first public appeal for information and asked residents to check their home security and dash cameras for anything unusual. In the days that followed, the investigation deepened. In the United States, another story was unfolding, one that would soon be tangled with this one in the court of public opinion. The Decker sisters, 3 young girls, were last seen during a custodial visit with their father. His truck was later discovered abandoned near a remote campsite. Days later, the bodies of the girls were found nearby. Authorities named their father as the primary suspect and launched a manhunt. Though these 2 tragedies occurred in different countries, on different timelines, social media began to fuse them into one. Video creators stitched clips from both stories together, headlines blurred key details, and a phrase began to dominate posts. Bodies found. Many of these claims were unverified, but the speed at which they spread meant that police had to address rumors as often as they addressed facts. The result was confusion, and for the families involved, more pain. But amid the swirl of tips and screenshots, investigators say they have evidence and a narrowed timeline. Are the people closest to the children hiding the truth? From the beginning, the RCMP deployed every available resource. Thousands of hours of video footage were collected and reviewed frame by frame. Hundreds of tips were logged, categorized, and prioritized. Polygraph examinations were conducted. Devices were seized under court-authorized warrants, and the Major Crime Unit took full control of the investigation. Yet, even as speculation online grew louder, police remained tight-lipped. They stressed that no bodies had been discovered in the Sullivan case, and urged the public not to share unverified information. Global news and other outlets repeated this warning, but rumors continued to spread. The contrast was stark. Official statements were careful, deliberate and limited. Social media posts were rapid, emotional, and often wrong. As for suspects, police have not named anyone publicly in connection with the Sullivan case. In the Decker case, however, US authorities have openly identified the father as the main suspect. The difference in disclosure between the two cases only fueled conspiracy theories that one investigation was being concealed. Behavioral experts note that in child abduction or homicide cases, perpetrators are often known to the victims, sometimes a family member or a trusted figure. They may display controlling behavior, isolate the children, or act defensively when questioned. While no official profile has been released for the Sullivan case, these patterns are well documented in similar investigations. And then, a turning point. Investigators quietly obtained new legal authorizations, granting them the ability to seize and examine specific evidence in the Sullivan case. They have not said what they found, or if it will lead to charges. At 2:13 in the morning, police activity spiked. Unmarked vehicles moved in and out of a single location. Whether that night brought them closer to the truth, or revealed something far darker, is still unknown. In the Sullivan case, police have not publicly named any suspects. They have referred only to persons of interest, individuals who may have information critical to the investigation. Among those discussed in some media coverage is Daniel Martell, identified in certain reports as the children's stepfather and the last known adult to see them. It is important to stress that he has not been charged in connection with their disappearance, and all allegations remain unproven. In the eyes of the law, he is innocent unless proven otherwise. Behavioral experts point out that in many child abduction and child homicide cases, the offender is not a stranger. They may be someone familiar to the victims, sometimes even within the family circle. Common behavioral patterns include an intense need for control, efforts to isolate the children from others, and the use of emotional or physical intimidation. In situations involving custody disputes or strained domestic relationships, these behaviors can escalate. While this is a general profile, and not specific to the Sullivan case, it is a reminder of how patterns in past investigations can guide current ones. When it comes to evidence, no single smoking gun has been revealed to the public. The RCMP has stated that their focus remains on the painstaking review of thousands of hours of video footage collected from businesses, residences, and dash cameras. Every frame is scrutinized for details: a passing vehicle, a shadow in a doorway, or a glimpse of movement where none should be. In cases like this, it is often these small, seemingly insignificant moments that break an investigation wide open. At 2:13 in the morning, police made a move. They say they have new legal authorizations. What they found, if anything, could either close the book or open a darker one. In the Sullivan case, no charges have been laid. The investigation remains active, with the RCMP continuing to gather and review evidence. There has been no trial, no public court proceedings, and no official confirmation of what happened to Lilly and Jack. In the Decker case, law enforcement in the United States confirmed that a manhunt was underway for the girls' father, following the discovery of their bodies. At the time of this recording, that investigation is ongoing, and any charges or court appearances will depend on the outcome of that search and the evidence collected. Even without answers, certain questions continue to echo. Where were the children between the time they were last seen and the moment the alarm was raised? Who had access to them in that window? Why did tips pour in during the first days, only to slow dramatically as weeks passed? Online, the gaps have been filled with speculation. Some claim the disappearances were staged. Others suggest a law enforcement cover-up. and many have merged the Sullivan and Decker cases into a single imagined conspiracy. None of these theories have been proven, and some have been publicly refuted by police. But in the viral churn of Facebook posts and YouTube videos, the line between fact and fiction has become dangerously thin. It is worth remembering that at the center of all of this are children. Lilly, Jack, and the Decker sisters. They are more than headlines. They are more than hashtags. If you have legitimate information about the Sullivan case, the RCMP urges you to call their tip line or contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers. A provincial reward of $150,000 remains in place for information that leads to a resolution. If you saw something, say something. And if you share something, share with care.